Struggling human discovers alien girl tied to a pillar labeled "Take as you please," punished for. The trial took place in the old arena. It was not meant for diplomacy. It was meant for judgment. The arena rested deep inside Concord Station, built long ago when disputes were settled by display of strength rather than words. The floor was dark metal, scarred by time. The walls rose high and curved inward, forcing attention toward the center. Vela stood alone at the edge of the arena. Across from her waited the trial structure. It was not a creature. It was worse. A Keller endurance construct, designed to test armor strength, neural control, pain tolerance, and mental focus at the same time. Even trained Keller warriors rarely completed it fully. Many failed halfway. Some never recovered. The council watched from above, silent, expectant. Elias stood behind the human delegation, fists clenched so tightly his hands hurt. He had argued against this trial. He had demanded alternatives. The council had refused. "This is their way," one human advisor whispered. "If she wins, they cannot deny her." "If she loses," Elias replied quietly, "they will erase her." The trial horn sounded. Vela stepped forward. The construct activated immediately. The floor shifted beneath her feet, changing angles without warning. Pressure fields pressed against her body, testing balance. Light flashed, sound pulsed, designed to overload the senses. Vela moved slowly, carefully. She did not rush. The council frowned. Speed was valued, force was admired, control was ignored. The first neural pulse struck her body, meant to disrupt internal systems. Vela gasped but did not fall. Her adaptive nervous system reacted, redirecting the overload inward, absorbing it instead of fighting it. The faint glow beneath her skin brightened, steady and contained. Elias leaned forward. "She's not resisting," he whispered. "She's adapting." The second phase began. Weight pressed down from above, increasing with each step. The pressure was meant to crack armor, to force submission. Vela's movement slowed further. Every step looked painful, but she kept moving. The arena sensors showed her internal systems shifting, reinforcing weaker points, redistributing strain. Her body was not failing. It was learning. A counselor shifted uncomfortably. "This is inefficient," another replied, "but effective." The third phase began without pause. Memory assault. The construct projected neural echoes, fear patterns, isolation signals, rejection responses. The kind designed to break morale. Vela stopped. Her hands trembled. Elias' heart pounded. He knew this part. He had seen that look in her eyes before. The look of someone who had spent their entire life being told they were wrong just for existing. The echoes intensified. Images formed in the air, symbolic, not literal. A lone figure standing apart, doors closing, backs turning away. The arena waited for her to kneel. Instead, Vela lifted her head. Slowly she spoke. "I am still here." Her voice echoed through the arena. "I survived you," she said, not to the construct, but to the memories. "All of you." The neural assault weakened. The glow beneath her skin flared brighter, not uncontrolled, but focused. The construct recalibrated. Final phase. Maximum output. The pressure fields, neural pulses, and sensory overload combined into a single wave meant to force collapse. Vela staggered, fell to one knee. Elias took a step forward before anyone could stop him. "Vela," he shouted. She looked up and smiled, not with joy, with certainty. She pushed herself upright. Every system in her body worked together, not perfectly, but together. The construct strained, unable to adjust fast enough. With one final step, Vela crossed the marked line at the center of the arena. The construct powered down. Silence followed. Then the arena lights shifted from red to white. Trial complete. For several long seconds, no one spoke. The council stared. The data screens showed the truth clearly. Vela had not just passed, she had exceeded parameters. "She did not meet traditional standards," one counselor said slowly. "No," another replied. "She redefined them." Vela stood breathing hard, supported by her brace but unbroken. The lead counselor rose. "Vela of the third clutch," he said, "by the measure of our laws you have demonstrated worth." Elias exhaled shakily. "But," the counselor continued, "your form challenges our traditions." Vela met his gaze. "So did your arena," she said calmly, "and yet it still stands." A ripple of quiet passed through the chamber. The counselor paused. Then something changed. "You are no longer classified as incomplete," he said. "Your designation will be revised." Vela closed her eyes, not in relief, in release. The council turned toward Elias. "Human envoy," the lead counselor said. "Your species intervened where custom did not invite it." Elias straightened. "Yes." "And yet," the counselor continued, "your values exposed a flaw in our judgment." Elias said nothing. "Humanity will be granted expanded diplomatic standing," the counselor said, "not because you are strong, but because you protect what others discard." Whispers spread across the chamber. The decision would echo far beyond the station. Later on the observation deck, Vela stood beside the glass watching stars drift past like distant fires. Elias joined her. "You did it," he said softly. "We did it," she corrected. He smiled. "Fair." She was quiet for a moment. "My people will struggle with this," she said. "Change is uncomfortable." "Trust me," Elias replied. "We know." She turned toward him. "You never saw me as broken," she said. "Why?" Elias thought for a moment. "Because humans learn the hard way," he said. "That survival isn't about perfection, it's about adaptation and refusing to abandon each other." Vela looked back at the stars. "Then your species is dangerous," she said. Elias raised an eyebrow. "Dangerous?" "Yes," she replied. "To injustice," he laughed softly. "I like that reputation." A message came through Elias' communicator, Human Command. "Alliance status updated. Proceed as primary envoy." "Well done." Elias closed the message. The galaxy would remember this moment, not because humanity won a war, not because they showed force, but because they stood between a system and a person and said no. Vela stood taller now, not because her body had changed, but because the universe had. And somewhere among the stars, a quiet truth spread. Humans are the ones who see value where others see failure. The corridors of the station twisted and curved like they were designed to confuse anyone who did not belong. Lights flickered above him, not in panic, but in warning. The station was awake now. The alien girl was light in his arms, too light for someone who should have been strong. Her breathing was shallow, but steady. She clutched his jacket with one weak hand, as if letting go would mean falling back into the pillar's shadow. "Hold on," Elias said, more to himself than to her. "We're almost there." They were not almost there. He knew that. His ship was docked 3 levels down on the far side of the station. Between here and there were checkpoints, scanners, and watchers that did not need eyes to see. "Why did you help me?" she asked quietly. Elias did not answer at first. He turned sharply into a service tunnel, nearly losing his balance as the floor tilted downward. "Because leaving you there felt worse," he finally said. "That is not a logical answer." He laughed once, breathless. "Yeah, humans get told that a lot." The tunnel narrowed, forcing him to slow down. Pipes ran along the walls, humming softly with energy. His implant buzzed again, sending sharp pain through his skull. Another warning. Identity logged. Humans rarely are. "Why?" Elias reached a maintenance hatch and kicked it open. Cold air rushed out, carrying the smell of metal and ozone. "Because we're inconvenient," he said. "Hard to predict, hard to control, easier to pretend we don't exist." They emerged into a lower-level corridor, darker and quieter. The station's main traffic stayed above. This level was for machines, not people. He set her down carefully against the wall. She slid down until she was sitting, eyes closed, chest rising and falling. "You need rest," he said. "I will survive," she replied, "but you will not if you continue." "That's comforting." She opened her eyes and looked at him fully for the first time. Up close, he could see the fine lines on her skin glowing faintly. They shifted slowly, like thoughts moving beneath the surface. "My name is Sally," she said. "Elias." She nodded once as if storing the information carefully. "Elias human." "Yes, very dangerous species," he said dryly. Her lips twitched. It might have been a smile. Footsteps echoed in the distance. Not loud, not rushed, controlled. "They are hurting us," Sally said. Elias frowned. "What?" "They are not chasing," she explained. "They are guiding for observation." That made his stomach tighten. Observation for what? "To understand why you did not take advantage of the sentence." Elias stared at her. "You think freeing you confused them?" "Yes." "That's not good, is it?" "No," she said softly. "It is unprecedented." Elias helped her stand. "Then let's not give them time to write a report." They moved again, slower now. Sally leaned on him, her steps unsteady but determined. As they walked, the station spoke again, not with alarms but with calm authority. "Human Elias Mar," the voice said. "Your actions have been recorded. Return the asset." "Punishment may be reduced." Elias stopped. "Asset," he said aloud. "She's a person." Silence followed, then classification stands. Sally's grip tightened. "Do not argue," she whispered. "They do not debate." Elias felt anger rise, hot and sharp. Maybe that's the problem. He turned and kept walking. The corridor ended at a sealed door leading to the docking ring. His ship was beyond it, freedom if it could still be called that. He pressed the access panel. Denied, of course. The station's voice returned. "Human Elias Mar. Further resistance will increase punitive response." Elias leaned his head against the door for a moment. "So," he said quietly, "this is where it ends." Sally shook her head. "Not yet." She raised her hand, placing her fingers against the metal wall. The glowing lines on her skin brightened. "What are you doing?" Elias asked. "I am using what they punished me for." The metal vibrated softly. Sally's species could see probability, not the future exactly, but paths, likely outcomes, risk and consequence. She had refused to use that gift to help plan destruction. Now she used it to escape. "The door will open in 12 seconds, she said, "but only once." Elias did not question it. He waited. At 10 seconds, his implant screamed with warnings. At 11, the lights went out. At 12, the door slid open. They ran. The docking ring was chaos, not panic-controlled movement. Drones hovered in the air, tracking. Enforcers stood at a distance, weapons lowered but ready. They did not stop him. They watched. Elias reached his ship, a small, scarred vessel that looked like it had survived more accidents than it should have. He helped Sally inside and sealed the hatch. The cockpit lights flickered on. "Come on," he whispered, powering up the engines. The station did not fire. That was worse. As his ship pulled free, the station transmitted one final message. "Human Elias Mar," the voice said. "Your behavior has been flagged for further study. You may leave." Sally sat in the co-pilot's seat, breathing hard. "They let us go," she said. "For now," Elias replied. He pushed the ship into open space, stars stretching ahead of them. Only when the station was a distant shape behind them did he allow himself to breathe. Sally turned to him. "You do not understand what you have done." "Yeah," Elias said. "I'm getting that feeling." "You disrupted a closed system," she continued. "You acted without incentive, without gain." He shrugged. "I gained you not being tied to a pillar." "That is not a measurable outcome," she said. He smiled tiredly. "Humans aren't big on measurable outcomes." Sally looked at the stars, thoughtful. "My people believe all actions can be predicted. And now," she said slowly, "their models will fail." Elias leaned back in his seat, exhaustion finally catching up to him. "Well," he said, "guess they should have left us out of it." Somewhere behind them, deep within the station systems, prediction engines began to loop endlessly, because one human had chosen mercy. And the galaxy did not know what to do with that yet. Elias did not celebrate their escape. That alone made him different from most beings who slipped past station control. He did not laugh, did not cheer, did not relax. He watched his ship's sensors carefully as it moved through open space, hands steady but tense on the controls. Freedom that came too easily was rarely freedom at all. Saley sat beside him in silence, watching the stars stretch into thin lines as the ship jumped to faster-than-light travel. Her skin markings glowed softly, then dimmed, reacting to thoughts she did not speak aloud. "They are following us," she said at last. Elias did not look surprised. "I figured. Not physically," she clarified, "through data, observation nets, long-range probability tracking. So," he said, "the scary kind of following." "Yes," Elias sighed, "figures." The ship dropped back into normal space near a dead system. No habitable planets, no traffic lanes, nothing worth claiming. Elias chose places like this when he wanted to disappear. He powered down most systems. Silence filled the cockpit. Saley closed her eyes. The glowing lines along her skin brightened, then slowed. "They are confused," she said. "Good," Elias replied. "Let's keep it that way." She opened her eyes and looked at him. "You do not understand the scale of what is happening." "That's also normal," he said. "Go on." Saley folded her hands in her lap. "My people are used to control. We model behavior, predict response, reduce chaos. And humans mess that up," Elias said. "Yes." She hesitated, then continued. "You are not meant to exist in our systems." Elias raised an eyebrow. "That's rude." "It is factual," she replied calmly. "Humans were observed long ago, too emotional, too adaptable, too willing to act against self-interest." He leaned back in his chair. "Sounds like a compliment. To us, it was a threat." Saley explained slowly, choosing words Elias could understand. When humanity first reached the stars, other species studied them. Human behavior did not follow stable patterns. Humans helped strangers without benefit. They sacrificed for ideas. They fought when logic said surrender was safer. Prediction engines failed when humans were included. So the galaxy did the easiest thing. They ignored them. "No formal war," Saley said. "No extermination, just exclusion. Humans were labeled irrelevant." Elias laughed quietly. "That explains a lot. But now," she continued, "you have forced reevaluation." "How bad is that?" he asked. Saley looked at him. "Entire governance models depend on prediction, trade, law, punishment." "The pillar," Elias said softly. "Yes." He clenched his jaw. "Then they deserve to be confused." Saley studied him. "Why does injustice anger you more than danger?" He thought about it. "Because danger ends," he said. "But systems like that keep hurting people forever." Saley said nothing. But the glow on her skin shifted in complex patterns. A warning alarm sounded. Elias leaned forward. "What now?" "Human signals," Saley said, surprised. "Old ones." Elias' eyes widened. "That's impossible." The scanner displayed faint contacts, ships emerging from long-range jumps. Old hull designs, civilian models, some barely spaceworthy, humans. "How did they find us?" Elias whispered. Saley looked unsettled. "I believe you were observed." Elias understood immediately. "Not by the station, by other humans." His broadcast during the escape, the open defiance. The human choice that made no sense. Someone had heard it. The first ship hailed them. The image flickered on screen, an older woman with tired eyes and a patched uniform. "This is aid vessel Mercy Road," she said. "You're Elias Marr, right?" Elias stared. "Yeah." "We thought that was you," she said. "You stirred up half the fringe channels." More ships appeared on the display. Traders, med ships, old patrol craft, not a fleet, a gathering. "We're not here to fight," the woman continued. "We're here to stand." Saley watched, stunned. "They came without incentive," she said quietly. Elias smiled. "Yeah, that tracks." The human ships formed a loose circle around Elias' vessel, not aggressive, just present. And across the region, alien observation systems began to fail. Probability engines could not model this. Humans were not attacking. They were not demanding. They were not negotiating. They were simply there. Saley's voice was almost a whisper. This is worse for them than war. Elias glanced at her. Why? Because war follows rules, she said. You do not. A new signal cut through the channels, alien, calm, authoritative. Human vessels, the voice said. You are interfering with a classified corrective action. The woman on the screen leaned closer to her camera. We're humanitarian, she said. That's what we do. There is no recognized crisis, the alien voice replied. Elias felt anger rise again. He opened a channel. There is when people are tied to pillars and stripped of rights, he said. Silence followed. Then the alien voice spoke again, slower now. Human Elias Mar, your presence has destabilized multiple systems. Good, Elias said simply. Saley watched him with something like awe. You speak as if this is acceptable. It is, he replied. Some systems deserve to fall. The alien transmission ended abruptly. Saley's markings flared brightly. They are recalculating, she said, but they cannot remove humans from the equation anymore. Elias looked at the gathered ships. So what happens now? Saley met his eyes. Now they must decide whether to adapt or escalate. Elias nodded. And humans? They will be labeled dangerous, she said. He grinned. We already are. The woman on the screen interrupted. Elias, more ships are answering the call. This is turning into something big. Elias exhaled slowly. He never wanted to be important, but the universe did not ask. Somewhere far away, punishment pillars were reviewed. Signs were questioned. Models were rewritten. Because one human had refused to walk away. And now the galaxy faced a problem it could not solve with numbers. The galaxy did not collapse. It did not burn. No great war began that day. No fleets clashed and no worlds fell silent. Instead, something far worse happened to those who believed in control. The system stopped obeying them. Across multiple sectors, prediction engines returned the same result again and again. Outcome: uncertain. Cause: human presence. The council chambers filled with tension that no one could measure. For the first time in centuries, decisions had to be made without knowing the result, and that terrified them. Elias did not know any of this. He sat quietly in his pilot's chair, surrounded by human ships that drifted like tired guardians. No weapons were aimed. No threats were made. They were just there. Saley stood near the viewport, watching distant stars. Her skin markings glowed in patterns Elias had never seen before, faster, brighter, alive. They are arguing, she said. Who? Elias asked. The councils, the observers, the ones who decide what is allowed. Elias nodded. Good, means they're not used to this. They are used to punishment, Saley said, not resistance without violence. One of the human ships sent a message. Supplies were being shared, medical help offered. No one asked for orders. Humans just helped. Saley watched it all in silence. Finally, she spoke. My sentence has been revoked. Elias turned. What? They removed the record, she said slowly. The pillar no longer exists. He let out a long breath he didn't know he was holding. That's good, right? Yes, she said, but it is not enough. A new transmission arrived, this one addressed to all ships, all species. The council spoke with a single voice. Human vessels, it said. Your actions have caused widespread disruption. You interfere with lawful systems. You create instability. Elias leaned forward, listening carefully. Therefore, the voice continued, humans will be reclassified. Saley's glow dimmed. This is dangerous. The council finished. Humans are hereby designated a disruptive moral force. You will not be governed by standard law. You will not be punished under existing systems. Silence spread across the human ships. Elias frowned. That sounds bad, Saley nodded. It means they do not know how to control you, so they will not try. What does that mean for us? He asked. It means, she said softly, you will be watched, avoided, blamed. Elias leaned back. Been there. The council added one final line. Any future human interference will be considered expected. The transmission ended. No cheers followed, no celebration. Just quiet understanding. Humans were no longer ignored. They were acknowledged. Saley turned to Elias. You changed the rules. He shook his head. I didn't mean to. That is the most human answer you could give. Days passed. Human ships came and went. Some stayed. Some left to spread the story. Not as propaganda, just truth. About a pillar, about a sign. About a human who chose mercy when no one would have blamed him for walking away. Across space, other punishment sites were quietly shut down. Not announced. Not admitted. Just removed. The galaxy adapted, slowly, reluctantly. Elias prepared his ship to leave. He was not a leader. He did not want to be a symbol. He was just a man who helped someone. Saley approached him at the docking hatch. I am coming with you, he blinked. You don't have to. I know, she said. That is why I will, he smiled. You sure you want to travel with a dangerous species? Yes, she replied. I want to study the one thing we cannot predict. They traveled together after that, not as heroes, not as rebels, just witnesses. Wherever they went, people remembered. Systems hesitated. Cruelty became harder to justify when humans were nearby, not because humans were strong, but because humans asked uncomfortable questions. Why is this allowed? Who decided this was acceptable? What happens if we stop obeying? Elias never became rich, never became famous, but sometimes when he docked at a quiet station he would notice something missing. No pillars, no signs, no permission to be cruel. And Saley would look at him and say, this place changed after humans passed through. Elias would shrug. We do that sometimes. Far away, prediction engines were rewritten with a new warning burned into their code. Do not assume humans will choose survival over compassion. Because the galaxy learned the truth too late, punishing humans for mercy does not stop them. It only teaches them where mercy is needed most. And once humans learn that, they never look away again.